good morning or good afternoon to our awesome European friends. In fact, we actually have a quite nice European match here today for Ambrosia for Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 5. I can't believe it's already towards the end of Ambrosia Week, and of course, Ari, thankfully for a great reminder, not only of course to himself, but also for us that there is in fact an item on the boss. Quite good memories actually from, in this case, the main tournament as well for playing Ambrosia. We have Ari facing off against MacTap. MacTap should be an awesome race, and I do have me here today, Dante. You may or may not be interested in this race. What do you think?
I'm just happy to be here. And I'm hoping we just have a really good race. Races in Ambrosia Week have been super exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, I'm hoping we don't have a 2-hour pearl for these guys. You know how inverted can be sometimes.
Yeah, these matches actually have been super wild, right? It's like, and it's not oftentimes you can basically call out favorites in randomizer races, especially even for the Invitational League, because everyone is just so good. But it's like the amount of swings, right, back and forth, like 4 people is actually just been quite amazing. I don't know if it's necessarily been more, I guess, for inverted or Ambrosia, but it certainly is. Yeah, as you said, it's been quite the popcorn for this week.
Inverted definitely can be one of the more volatile weeks, and I guess here we go with a little bit of divergence at the start. Matt kept getting 10 arrows, going to save and quit directly out, but Ari starting directly at the Dark Chapel.
Yeah, and right, so it's actually very interesting because I know that some people, just like what MacTap is doing, because Link's House guarantees you an item, never really hurts to see in this case what it is, and maybe if you get like 3 bombs or something, as a very lucky first item opener, hey, there's Hype Cave right there. No such luck, of course, from MacTap this time around because we just have 10 arrows, but sometimes it can certainly pay off.
Yeah, for sure. With Bumper Cave being done, that's kind of always a nice little peace of mind. You don't want to have to leave that behind super early, but both these guys, Ari getting the nice skull surprise, but gets a bomb for his trouble.
Yeah, yeah. So right, it's like a it's a hidden blessing, right?
Yeah, it's one of those blessings you just absolutely love and hate to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but meanwhile, though, of course, Ari, getting, as you mentioned, getting a lucky bomb drug. Actually, it looks like he's going to forego potentially the early bomb farming, as we've seen forced here for MacTap, just because, well, in inverted, this is probably one of the best locations or fastest locations. But you know what? We have a bow here in the beginning of Skull Woods, so thank you, Dunka. Always blessing the seed from afar.
Yeah, the bow can be a nice early item, kind of telling that we may be visiting Palace of Darkness pretty soon. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We still need a way over there.
Yeah, that is very true. But actually, with the 10 arrows that MacTap has actually picked up from his house, you see, actually, he's using that ammunition immediately, which especially at this stage, even though they do have a sword, a little bit of a ranged weaponry, is certainly you're never going to complain about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ari grabbing his bow does have that key from visiting the center here first. So we'll be getting some new checks. I love new checks, especially when we're in the same place.
Yeah, it's much easier to keep track of. Now, of course, Dante, I hope in this case, you don't get necessarily too confused. I know that you like the Pug Sprite a lot. This is inverted, and that's Ari. By the way, we also have the other item. Well, the 2 out of 3 items that's in the front of Skull Woods is a bow and a hammer. Did you mention something about pod?
We needed pod access, and lo and behold, here we are. We have it. I don't know if they're going to be utilizing that, but okay, Ari going to get a couple more bombs. The save and quit. I guess we'll see Hype Cave, but we may go directly to pod. Just things to consider, there's no money right now to be had for either runner.
Very good point. We get so excited by just having the item requirements that you actually bring up a very, very great point, is that in inverted, we are often broke. And as noted, even though we have a great bow, we've got a hammer, we have absolutely we have a second sword, by the way, in Hype Cave. Jeez.
Man, we are feeling good in the neighborhood. Got half magic, a heart container,
Holy
the flippers, and the lamp.
Have you seen?
All right.
I can understand maybe why Hype Cave got his name, although it is inverted, so. Wow.
We heard you wanted to play the game. Here you go.
Yeah, RG.
In the 8 bomb drop, I'm gonna assume that was tier 2. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
Might have been 3.
It seemed like we killed a good number of enemies, so I'm also gonna assume it was 2.
All right, so Airy really hoping he can get a few more dollaroos. Because he's got dig game. We have seen races decided by dig game.
Yeah, especially
This
right
week.
now. So Mactop actually is visiting the village first. He has a little bit more cash to his name. So, of course, in inverted, one of the unfortunately, you're right, Airy only getting more bombs. I mean, bombs are great. Mactop's getting a hook shot, but early money is definitely can be quite the killer in inverted. As we're seeing in this case, we have so many great resources, weaponry, offense, just nothing to unfortunately get stuff out of chess game, dig game, or pod for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. First item in Thieves Town, just $20, but honestly, the $20 is kind of nice. But Airy gonna make his way on over to the Village of Outcast area. We have seen most of this over on Matt Cap's side.
Right, yeah, right. And of course, for maybe those aficionados for maybe necessarily like entrance, or in this case, particularly inverted, the arrow game is actually quite the great money farm in this particular case. Well, maybe not so much as now, just because we do have a little bit of extra cash, but if you're ever strapped for anything, all it takes is 20 rupees in order to get a couple hundred out of it for your time.
Indeed. Airy getting the single in the random first chest and getting his hook shot as well. We've seen, I think, 2 items. Might want to check that. Might have been 3 in the front of Thieves Town. But unfortunately getting bunny beamed and stunning that Zizak. Gonna take a little bit longer there to take the death warp. But Matt Cap's gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna assume head down to Brewery. Give us that check. Our stun prize today, just a single heart, so that could be, I mean, it's inverted. That could be very beneficial.
Yeah, especially early hook shot, of course, is always really nice, and the fact that, of course, we are in the dark world, right? They are interested in death warping early on, but you're never really going to complain if you can basically keep you alive.
Both of these runners about to feel very bad. Madcap gonna not go back into Thieves Town right now. We do see on Airy's side that it is a crystal with the C. I didn't notice that while Madcap was there. The hammer could go ahead and full clear this, so we may see Airy decide to go back in.
Very, very excellent point. Yeah, and of course, like the big key to Thieves Town, along with everything else coming out fast and furious. Awesome. Thank you so much to our tracker, to Daruk. He has been amazing, actually. So much time, basically, given him for volunteering to track. I was also going to say, right, Dan, you mentioned the stun price being a heart. If Airy goes back to Thieves Town, we certainly may see it. How did he not get hit by the ghost, by the way? That was a bit of a close call.
Very stone cold emotions walking past that ghost. All right, let's see what Airy does. He's got that big key to Thieves. Madcap has a ton of money now. Airy's going back, so a little bit more divergence. Dig game going to be telling for us, maybe. How many digs? We're up to 5.
Yeah, how many digs? And of course, Madcap hasn't gone over to Hype Cave yet. He doesn't know about that half magic, so he actually might be pretty happy. Picking up a little bit of extra magic, the small containers here and there. But of course, once he makes his way over there, he'll be nice and set. And I certainly would not. I assume in this case, with the hammer that he got out of Skull Woods, he's just gonna basically go straight from Hype Cave to Pod.
It's possible. I don't see him walking back over to Thieves Town. So Thieves Town going to be something much later for Madcap, I do believe. All right, Madcap gonna save and quit. Gonna probably get his hype cave and experience the hype. Chat, we get to experience it again. If you weren't here when we pulled this, just watch. There might be 1 or 2 things in this room.
Yeah, especially yeah, especially like going into Pod. Certainly would never complain really about any of these items. Meanwhile, though, Airy making his way through the back of Thieves Town, taking advantage of things that MacTap has actually been finding here in Hypegate. For example, that Master Sword. The lamp will certainly help, of course, MacTap in Pod.
Yeah, the lamp is very beneficial, especially early. You know, most people aren't too, at this level, aren't too concerned with the pod dark rooms. However, when you're on 3 hearts, green mail, 4 hearts, something in that range, it's not always the most free scenario to be in.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, talk about this is one of the hallmarks of Inverted is that you get to, basically explore a bunch of stuff here in the Dark World on pretty low health. Airy was so excited in this case about being able to clear out Thieves Town. Also kindly giving us a reminder that yes, unfortunately, we cannot lift a big rock without a glove.
No glove. It's so hard to remember in Inverted.
Alright, MacCap. Yep, making a slight detour to the pyramid. Certainly very, very reasonable. Nothing, of course, there that he is willing to go pick up. Of course, you also see him kind of grabbing onto every single heart that he can as a refill. We certainly would like the most amount of health going into Pod. It is still, as you mentioned, quite a dangerous place, with or without the lamp.
Yeah, for sure. And I was wondering why Airy didn't go up north in that room, but clearly having a little bit of a struggle here, but clearly paying more attention than I am on the way back.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This is when things can get, oh my jeez, Airy.
All right.
Yeah, a little dicey, but you know what? Airy has been through the conveyor belt like thousands of times. He knows how to read the bars when they try to electrocute. Oh my gosh!
Oh, gets the hook. Extra heart.
Clutch. Of course, if we follow the script, no worries whatsoever. Going to be damages. Of course, you will absolutely never complain about having a little bit of extra buffer here, just in case something goes wrong.
All right, on to phase 3. Meanwhile, MacCap is opening up Pod, so we're going to get some checks over on his side very soon. 2 hits and 3, so down goes Blind. According to plan, nobody was ever worried. $50 for his troubles, and crystal number 1, 11 minutes in.
Yeah. Also, could also be a 5/6 crystal. We won't know necessarily. I don't think we actually got a map check, as you mentioned. I think we just saw the big C. Oh, but maybe it looks like actually, Dirk, our tracker, he has already marked 5/6. So maybe MacTap has actually gone to talk to the bond merchant. We found we're just finding the next big piece of progression here in the shooter room of Pod, by the way.
Yeah, we're just a pearl now from the whole game being wide open for us to play.
Now, so far, even though Airy, of course, obviously showing off his execution and skill, being able to clear out Thieves Town on extremely low health, I will actually say that it doesn't actually seem like the requirements so far in order to get Light World access has been too unkind, right? You could have just gotten, in this case, like the hammer out of the front of Skullwoods. Looks like we actually just get the glove out of the front of out of Pod. Doesn't actually look too nerve-wracking. It's not like we had to necessarily dive Ice Palace yet for our Pearl, maybe?
Yeah, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But we're at least in, runners are in a really good spot, I think, especially with getting the glove, the hammer already. So MacCap looking to be setting up maybe a Death Warp here?
He does have hammer. Right? Okay.
He does. But getting his 2 small keys over on right side, there's the potential for 1 item still to be at large here in the front of Pod. I literally thought Airy was going to jump on the Hinox. It was very close.
Yeah. Well, there've been a lot of close shaves here on Airy's side. Maybe he thinks that the pug is just more agile. Maybe he wouldn't be doing this with his original Dark Link sprites.
Maybe Dark Link is old and feeble.
Exactly.
Dark Pug is young and spry.
All right, looks like the Airy clearing out actually hit again first crystal under the 12-minute mark. Quite nice for Team Pugs. But you know what? There's MacCap is just a little bit farther ahead in terms of progression, right? Getting not only the glove out of Pod, we got the pearl out of Pod as well.
Yeah, we got our 2 items in the front. So we're gonna get a key on a bridge. I'd assume MacCap is gonna just head on to the back. This is where in Invrosia, or pretty much almost all inverted modes, where you just kind of kick your feet up and try to have a good time in Light World. It's not too difficult, like Dark World, as Aries demonstrating for us here.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where I am glad that he is not in this case, dark pug or link sprite user that has double heartbeats. Inverted or Ambrosia, as you said, certainly can be quite dangerous early game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything hits like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So bomb jump here for Madcap. Successfully done.
Yep.
No, we don't have the big key. Those are at large today. It's one of the little caveats here of Invrosia, as we've kind of seen so far.
Area, of course, about going into shooter room. He's also going to get his nice and goodies. Dark Mace, by the way, an absolute not one of those things you kind of really want to see. We did find both the map and the compass. Of course, we do know from Aries' file name reminder that there, of course, is an item on the boss. Just a much another reinforcement of that reminder.
Yeah, so you kind of, if you're in pod and you're clearing it, it's like, man, it'd be really nice if that big key would show up, because I literally have everything to do it right now.
Now, I guess, okay, so, and I'm going to assume that, both of these runners are definitely good enough in order to do the rest of pod, basically on this type of tile, especially with the lamp, right?
Yeah, I would expect no less.
Dicey, of course, but yeah. But looks like, though, unfortunately, no big key in pod, so MacTap is going to just take, his goodies, as you mentioned, Pearl and Glove. And just gonna go kick up his feet, gonna go to the light world, and is going to maybe make a couple more decisions as to where he wants to kind of start out in the light world first.
Yeah, now that things are a little comfier for him, I'll be curious to see. Ooh, actually, we know we're going up the mountain, it seems.
Okay, well, never mind. Yeah. So this is also, of course, very much in logic. We do have, of course, the lamp, and of course, MacTap is well, you know what? I don't really think it matters what kind of equipment you have. This trip up the mountain to rescue the old man isn't really going to get any faster.
It's true. The only way it would get faster is if you have a flute and you just never do it.
Yes, good point. Yes.
Aerie getting absolutely bullied.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that was intentional with the bomb drop. I'm going to assume maybe. But, it looked like a struggle bus.
Yeah, and having low health, right, and no Mire is both, again, blessing and a curse, right? Is if you want a death warp, you have a fast track to there. If you want a death warp later than intended, may not always be the best of options.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this is Inverted. This is the trailer for Inverted, where you just with the over on Madcap's side, get the bush, walk up the thing. Hope that this gets faster somehow.
In theory, the trailer is supposed to be shorter than the actual movie, Dante. Is that right?
Sometimes.
Oh,
it's just not today.
Okay. At least MacTap is doing a good job of avoiding some large talk. Sometimes the bully, the actual bully with the pink ball, isn't always going to be the kindest. We do have equipped Mac check. Looks like we have a remaining pendants over at Eastern and Hera, so that should be all the information we need.
All right, just a green dollar on Madcap's side.
Everybody is struggling in this economy.
It's true. Now, I like that Madcap decided to go get the health refill. There's just something about these cabbages in Inverted.
There is something about Death Mountain that doesn't seem to change, regardless of the mode that you play.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure.
Now, actually interesting of note, Aerie is here in the Rupee basement first. He had actually not done the bomb jump over. This actually potentially is going to save him a little bit of time if he's counting items.
Maybe. I think so.
He's gonna check Harmless Hellway, right? Or
no,
do we think that's
two.
gonna be a key? Oh yeah, that's definitely a key. Gotcha.
Yeah, we see Kena Burna there on Spec Rock, so that is obtainable. Which puts Spike Cave into logic.
Oh my gosh. Great. Just gonna quickly add up another trip to the mountain mentally already because we're just gonna go up to Spike Cave.
All right, so Aries out of pod. We're getting ready to get 7 items. Count them, 7 over on Madcap's side.
I feel like this can't be as exciting as the 5 items we got out of Pipe Cave, but there are 7 chances, and you know what? There's one of them.
The Titan's mitts showing up in Paradox. That's something you don't see very often. It kind of is an indicator either Mire is late, or maybe locked behind those mitts. You know, because with the way Inverted works, it's kind of just something to have in your back pocket. Airy going to be heading to the Light World South Shore. Nothing too exciting in the first 3 checks up here. There's the book. That's going to be required for Desert. That is a hard requirement. So Madcap, feeling pretty good probably about this play right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially given that Airy looks like he's actually gonna start out his Light World trek already in South Shore. Oh, nice big key to Swamp Palace. Not in this right. And again, for overworld travel in the Light World in Inverted, it is actually quite a little bit harder to navigate, especially without any type of like real great, you know, for example, Flute-esque movement, right? So. Being kind of down here, maybe Airy is going to be slightly less incentivized to go over to Desert Palace.
Yeah, getting that 20 bucks in, heading away. So no Agina check. Maybe that'll be later on. We finally see a bush crab with dropping some 5s.
Yeah, speaking
Madcap
of...
got to be a little careful here, down to 1 heart, and this is a little scary.
And unfortunately, the stun prize with the hook shot isn't really going to be very helpful here with only Tektites kind of bumping around. So he is still going to have to take a little bit. Looks like he's going to head over to Hera. This is also a pretty terrible place to be in Inverted. But at least he's safe, quote unquote, for the time being, in that if he does take a tumble, he'll just be inside the dungeon as opposed to somewhere one of our save and quit locations.
Now this is a green pendant. Given how long it takes to get up here, I'm kind of not surprised to see Madcap come here. With no big key, the green pendant isn't quite in logic just yet. However, that small key for the basement puts that in logic, and that's kind of a, do you really want to do this? And I'm assuming Madcap is saying no by taking that Death Warp.
Oh, maybe he just wanted the health refill?
Very possible. And I totally agree with what he's doing here. Just go ahead and we're gonna Hera pot clip to the top.
Yeah, really nicely done. One of the newer setups, of course, for Hera pot. But yeah, I was actually gonna ask, so like, especially for Inverted, right? A lot of people maybe want to hem and haw a little bit about, do I want to do Hera as a pendant dungeon? Maybe the green pendant will be more incentive, but this is also Inverted, like. Again, to get back to Hera may not always be the fastest method, so maybe that'll actually push you to do Hera, more often, even potentially have to sit through the basement, right, for that extra item. Where maybe, as before, if you find the Mire later, you can, okay, I'll just come back with the shortcut. That's not really possible here in this mode.
Yeah, definitely. So Airy taking some portals magically appearing northern part of Dark World.
Yeah, one of the nice things actually about Inverted, and yes, there are nice things about Inverted, is that you actually get to take advantage of a lot of the game's built-in overworld travel, namely the whirlpools. A lot of nice overworld travel for you. Don't necessarily need to get an extra item or 2 for it.
All right, that was a solid fight there from Madcap. Gonna get his green pendant. So Moldorm down. We'll see. And chat talking about a 50-50 here between the last item being in the basement or the big chest. Madcap gonna play the odds, I think, and hope for the best here. Heading down to the basement.
Yeah, it definitely looks like, again, maybe this is one of those places where he doesn't want to come back to. And as you mentioned, right, we actually, well, I guess we don't have a Mire, so we can't actually get back to Dark World, but at least go back to Spike Cave. Well,
speaking of Mirrors, I said it was going to be late, but
oh my gosh,
that's in back of Escape
this is,
over on Airy's
really
side.
Nice find for Airy.
So, no boots. Anytime, I don't know. If I'm in Inverted and I'm seeing Mire and mitts early, I don't know. I'm thinking King's Tomb. It's literally the only thing. So it could just be complete bait, but we'll see.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, right, we still need those very elusive boots. Both, I think, Metcalf and Airy would be quite happy to see them. Although also by the and Metcalf, I think, would also be very happy to see that mirror that Airy has in his possession because looks like, you know, even on green mail, it still takes a little bit of time to get out of Hera basement. But Metcalf is he's trucking through.
Yeah, well, and this is good for Madcap. He got that item in the basement, so I believe that is everything. Not even having to worry about if and when that big key shows up.
Oh, all right. So we also do have a couple of other Aries finding what our second of not hard required big keys in order to get through the dungeon, but you would always want the big key for the dungeon so you don't leave an item behind. That is Ice Palace coupled with Swamp Palace. Airy is probably going to get I'm predicting Skullwood's big key next for him.
Yeah, sure. We'll just get everything that we don't need.
Exactly.
Unless an item's there. That's the one asterisk beside that.
I do like, in this case, Aries routing in Light World so far. It seems like in this case, you know, kind of starting, he did in this case take a very quick dip into South Shore, didn't really see too much, but coming in here from the north, being able to check Graveyard Ledge, and in this case the Back of Escape, is actually, I think, a pretty nice detour for what it's worth. Those locations can get pretty isolated in Inverted just because it is, you know, they're not the greatest in order to get to in the Light World, they're kind of even worse in order to get to the Dark World, in Inverted.
Absolutely. All right, so Airy getting Turtle Rock big. That's not too telling right now, but given the items we've seen across both players, he can access that big chest. We have Hook. We have a way of getting in there. You know, just some things to keep an eye on, maybe.
Yeah, right. In Inverted, especially again, yeah, with the mirror that Airy has, you don't always have to go in necessarily from the front. Could also be another reason why potentially maybe people are less interested in checking the medallion for Turtle Rock, just because there are, as Mektap is here on the mountain for the umpteenth time. With the mirror, you could just basically warp up to the Dark World. There are lots of entrances for Turtle Rock there, so they may not always have to go through the front.
Yeah, absolutely. There's our pod big inside the well. So one of our required ones finally showing up.
Yeah, and it also is a 5/6 crystal. So that will certainly be quite interesting to be able to see. Of course, right, across both runners, the mirror on Aries' side and the book on Matcap's side, the Mire Desert area is going to be actually pretty nice once we kind of make our way over there.
All right, it looks like Madcap going back up the mountain. I'm going to assume this is the play to... I'm assuming he's not going to do Spike Cave here, but probably Hookshot Cave Super Bunny, maybe get some TR medallion info should we need it. Meanwhile, the Lazy Kid just has another heart container, so on Green Mail, I'm sure that's not going to be turned down.
Not as lazy as we might think in this case if he's giving us a heart container. I mean, he could have given us a heart piece, right? I think he's going above and beyond what the absolute bare minimum requirements are.
I guess so. Yeah, Blue Cane making the Lionel so much easier. Just one wrong move, one false move, if you will, and then you're having a bad day.
Alright, so nothing on the race game for Airy. We have our companion invincibility item, although along with the temper sword here in Hookshot Cave. Our high density cave location's actually been quite good for our runners.
Yeah, absolutely. Airy gonna go ahead and grab our friend the frog. This is kind of one of those things we were mentioning earlier. With that mirror, don't need mitts to grab the blacksmith, so let's go turn him in.
Yeah, good on Airy, of course, to remember in this case to be able to, he has the ability to actually do the smith with the mirror, especially in this case. I think for some maybe newer people to playing Inverted, it is a very common gotcha, quote unquote. It's very easy in this case to kind of lapse and forget about the smith, and with or without the mirror, with the mirror certainly is going to be a little bit more convenient, but it is certainly still quite the trek in order to kind of finish up the chain.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt kept gonna walk back over, so I'm gonna assume this is our Spike Cave check.
Mhm.
And honestly, I like this play, considering he came back up here. We've got both invincibility items, and it doesn't always mean something, but, you know, it's hard to get it out of your mind, and this is, like, the last thing he has available to him on the mountain.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, in MacTap in this case has been absolutely very, very thorough here up the mountain. And so after this check, he doesn't have anything else left in this area. He's finished up Hera, he's done the Ether Tablet, he's done Spike Cave. So I think he can basically just, cross out this entire section of the map for him.
Yeah, and it's kind of a dice roll right now. Obviously, Aerie having that mirror will be able to at least explore Turtle Rock should he choose to. There's several chests he'll be able to do when he goes up on the mountain. They could all be garbage, so this could be. This is like a coin flip. Is it required to go into TR for something? Is it is Matt Cap getting an unintentional time save? It's one of the exciting parts about Inverted, and I guess the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're always really happy in this case to be able to see very large pieces of progression items in order to, early, right? Because, the glove, the hammer, the mitts, the mirror, because they just open up so much at the same time, as you mentioned. They can, not only, of course, they open up the necessary, further paths of progression, they can also open up, things that are like wild goose chases, right? Or anything else that are basically just going to send you on, basically a giant waste of time. So,
yeah,
always going to be a trade-off. All right.
Aerie gonna walk on over, check Agina for us today.
All right, yeah, and we got actually bit of a little preview. In Inverted, we can also access Checkerboard Cave. I assume Aerie's going to do that right after this. Of course, in Inverted, you don't need or can't really do anything with the Flute and the Mirror, so it's just going to be open up, just like K45.
Getting a big key to Misery Mire, so another required big key. I can't recall if Aerie actually did these swimming checks here. I don't think he went up to the Hobo or Lake Hylia.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think he did any of these. He certainly didn't do Waterfall Fairy and Zora, because I think he was a little bit of strapped for cash at the time.
Yeah, indeed. And foregoing a red goo bottle, there's a shovel.
Yep, definitely did not, in this case, do the hobo. Also, of course, as confirmed by our tracker, Daruk, there is no shovel lit up on Aerie's side.
And there's an ether medallion sitting on Desert Ledge.
Very interesting. Is this going to be ether?
Well, then.
Well, I think we just have everything that we could possibly want for Mire, minus the cane. But we have, of course, in this case, the big key to Mire in Checkerboard Cave, and we have the ether medallion to get in on Desert Ledge.
Yeah, and I think that's probably good for Matt Cap, just having that early. There's our fourth sword between the two runners. So, Aerie gonna be up to Tempered with Matt Cap, but whenever the other two cross paths, they'll be both up to Butter, and there'll be a nice, overly comfy seat at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a bow. We have a green pendant turn into green potion. It's a hostile. I was just gonna say, are we gonna be able to get our silvers at some point soon? Because that would I think just be, is there an easier mode than easy for both Aerie and MacTap if we can get gold sword and silvers?
I mean, both of them very confident in their play, very good. Aerie, former NMG world record holder, and I believe MacCap was a former world record holder for the ancient stone tablets, which was kind of like the thing that was only in Japan.
That is actually quite the title.
But yeah, both of them know how to play this game. Aerie, I guess this is the Swamp Palace play. We could do it. It's fully clearable. I didn't even think of that right now.
That is, this is why Aerie is playing as Dark Pug in the Invitational League. This is he has you're absolutely correct. He has everything he could possibly want, including in this case the big key to Swamp Palace that he picked up. So yeah, absolutely 100% gonna be able to get everything out. And what a nice temper sword to find right before coming into this dungeon. No boots, unfortunately, but I mean, you're never gonna turn down a temper sword when you're gonna go fight Argus.
Yeah, for sure. And MacCap diving a Pendant Eastern, not fully clearable, so we're going to leave at least one item here. This may just be making sure leaving no stone unturned since he was in the area, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. There's a, but as you said, this is actually very quite the interesting dip. We do find blue mail here in Eastern Palace. May not always be the best news for Mekhtap, considering he doesn't have that Mire yet, so any type of course, future death warping just will have gotten twice as slow. But of course, I don't think you're ever going to turn down for some extra defense.
Yeah, for sure. I can't see Madcap going too much longer without that mirror, just kind of based on where he's covered in Light World so far. All right, so that is going to be a big, or an item, guaranteed in this big chest on Madcap's side.
Yeah, it looks like though he is going to make the investment in order to get the big key out of its vanilla location. We're kind of experiencing both Eri and Mekhtap not having any boots. Eri and Mekhtap are kind of going through, I would say, some of the longer portions of the dungeon without really any great great movement. Eri, of course, is making very good use of that hook shot.
All right, I hope Eri knows how to do bomb diver down with this sprite.
Is it really that much different than like a Dark Link? Because it looks about the same
really
size.
Not.
Okay.
It's not. They're the same. Even though he's probably thinking maybe it ain't, but it totally is.
Oh my gosh, though. Never mind. Oh, I totally forgot. We don't have the big key because big keys are shuffled. Wow.
Boots
all right,
and flute. So all of our mobility items showed up for both runners here right at the exact same time.
Yeah, this is actually quite the nice get for Madcap, and of course, obviously Eri for boost because forget everything I said about not having boost for Argus and Temper Sword because Eri is pretty much, as you mentioned, on NMG world record holder muscle memory at this point. But that flute though is very interesting. Not that it looks like we actually logically need it for anything because we do have access to the Mire area, but with the flute, with the mitts that Mekhtap has, he is actually going to have some really nice overworld travel because a lot of the flute spot portals that you can go to in the dark world in order to get to the light world actually do require mitts for some nice access. So it's going to be quite convenient for him. Not sure in this case when and if Eri will actually be able to go get that.
Yeah, so a solid fight there on Eri's side. I guess now, I think there's one item over on left side swamp. Like, do you leave it? Do you go get it? We're missing so much. It's a tough call.
Yeah, Eri hasn't been to Paradox yet. You know, there are lots of high item density locations for him, but looks like though he is going to be thorough. He's going to get back. We of course know that it's actually, as you mentioned, one item an actual left side swamp because there is we've already checked the big chest.
Yeah, thank God we don't have to walk back for that. Good lord. All right, so there is Madcap's second bottle. Got that fairy on hand. Probably not excited to see that at the moment, given
yeah, very good point.
He's still in the death warp situation, but I think with as much as he's done, he's probably going to go ahead and get that mirror pretty soon.
But certainly, yeah. But so both runners in this case are making very, I think, reasonable progression. And based on this case, like where they're initially going and what kind of items they have. You know, Mekhtap, unfortunately, as you mentioned, still no mirror, so he's actually to try to be as efficient as he can, basically being pick up the smith. And you know, in this case, the smith gets a little bit of a free tour in the light world, right before he, you know, kind of has to go back to work. In this case,
I mean, he's been gone for so long in the dark world. He's like, bro, take me home. I just don't want to be here.
You know, well, at least we get a small tour as to, you know, so many things have changed since he left the light world, right? So at least he gets a little bit more familiarity with the light.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, look.
Oh,
Eri!
no, Eri.
Oh, so
no.
close. I was like, oh, Eri's gonna show us a little bit of a nice swag, but yeah, never mind. We didn't see anything the first time.
It's like a minute amount of frames faster until you do that, and.
Don't worry, Eri. Nobody saw that, especially not your teammates. All right, is Ari gonna get lucky? And this is gonna be the correct drop down for the item. It is.
All right, Ari's not counting. But this might be a sanity check. Oh wait, no. Okay, I'm an idiot.
All right, never mind. Yeah, it looks like. All right, so we did end up having a boomerang at the end of the day. We did see, I think, saw one on race game. But of course, I'm not sure if in this case anyone's probably gonna go back and get it.
And this is probably going to be like hobo into, yeah. All right, so that is Smith turning in for Madcap. Going to get his 3 whole bombs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and right. So, and remember in this case that Ari, he's gonna get a shovel here from Hobo soon. But this also adds to the list of additional fetch quests that he has. Yeah, not only of course for the shovel that he's kind of already been to the area, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to go back to. But he also does have the mushroom that he can turn into the witch's hut.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think, like, I'm going to assume that Flute is not hard required for this seed, but that is definitely a nice, convenient item.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah,
just to, like, for navigation purposes. So we'll see if that becomes a factor down the line if Ari decides to not head into Eastern.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but even like getting over here, you know, and by the way, like Ari's route has been actually quite efficient, moving, you know, from basically just taking his laps, right, around Dark World. But as you mentioned, with the Flute though, that Mactap has, especially just getting over to Pod is just a flute away, right, type of thing. Getting over to Ice Palace is also something that's also very convenient. And then we can also basically, because Mactap has the mitts, he can basically go over to like Lake Hylia Island as he so chooses.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, he also has Book, so he's going to be able to check Bombo's tablet, and we may see a dive into Mire. It's very possible. Maybe he decides not to without that cane, but if he makes that full pass...
Unfortunately, I think he still needs the Mire in order to get over to Mire, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Yeah, because unfortunately, fortunately, because he went to Hobo early, he can get this check out of the way, but looks like no desert dive yet. But yeah, he hasn't been to the back of Escape, which, of course, we know in this case is probably going to be one of his stops, hopefully on the sooner side in order to pick up his Mire.
Well, he could get the Mire this way, so...
That's that, 100%! Yeah.
He heard us. He's like, you know, I'll show you.
Exactly.
Yo, nice statue push there from Ari.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is going to be Gold Sword for Madcap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gizby looks like just going to be a very, you know, quick Mire shed check as well as the entry requirement. I certainly would not be surprised, by the way, to see Mactap just saving, quitting, fluting right back over, because we can, in this case, do desert. But of course, without the Mire, though, you know, these little things like saving and quitting, you know, over and over versus like a Mire over is, I mean, it certainly can add up in terms of time.
Yeah, for sure. So Madcap gonna take this time and go back to Thieves Town with that big key.
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
going to be completing that dungeon. See, you know, and it looks right now like if you're just joining us and you look and you're like, oh, well, you know, Ari's about to be done with his 3rd dungeon and Madcap only has 1 done, about to be done with 2. You know, what's happened? Well, the mountain happened, and inverted mountain happened, and Madcap got a lot up there, so eventually Ari's gonna give that time back for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. And of course, right, like, and Ari, of course, still missing, in this case, a couple of key items. Ari is, of course, missing the book that Mactap has from the mountain, which, of course, is hard required for desert. And because, in this case, Eastern Palace is a pendant, Mactap's flute that he got out of Eastern Palace Vanilla Big Key chest may actually be eluding Ari for the remainder of the seed, depending on, you know, kind of what he wants to do.
All right, well, there's powder on Helmasaur King with that guaranteed item. So Crystal 3, Now, I mean, if he decides, like, I could bundle shovel with mushroom and, you know, but you've spent so much time in the overworld. That's one of the bad things about Inverted. You just, it kind of gets in your head, and you have to be very, you know, cool, calm, and collected about it, I think, and just understand the situation you're in.
Yeah, and right, and if you're somebody who likes to make decisions, Inverted is the mode for you. You know, getting into the light
hate
world.
decisions.
Is that maybe potentially why you were not one of the 2 chosen ones to play this mode for your team, Dante?
I have no idea why I was not chosen. I did the initial draft, and I don't know why I didn't put my name in for Inverted.
Maybe we can ask Ari or Andy in that case as to what the team decision was in this case. Now, of course, we actually do see quite the difference in that Ari was here in Thiefstown earlier with no glove. Mactop is here with mitts. Nothing makes a difference with a big rock, but you know, it's gonna be able to save a little bit of extra time, and especially we did see Ari take a little bit of a Monka-esque, you know, potential tumble in conveyor belt room. I don't really think Mactop's gonna have that same issue.
No, I'll be fine. I really like this chill, like Zelda guitar MSU that's going down on Madcap's side right now.
Oh yeah, and right. I think his MSU is called Super Guitar Bros. I've actually never heard of. I haven't really heard of it, but it's quite, as you said, quite chill.
Very relaxing compared to the Ace Combat music we were hearing over on Aries' side, which just kind of makes me feel very serious all the time. But here we go with the blind fight on Madcap's side, down with Phase 1, getting in prep for Phase 2, getting a little off track here, but Blind's head going to the right, so that's where we know Phase 3 is going to start, positioning himself nicely to recover, and gets it done.
Yeah, with both invincibility items, half magic, a full row of hearts, Mactop probably wasn't going to be too worried. Oh, but like the little crystal music though was pretty happy.
It's pretty jolly. That's a word for it. I don't think we saw Spec Rock over on Madcap's side, but
I think you're right. Actually, I certainly don't remember
just a
seeing
shovel.
Shield.
Oh yeah, shield. It's the other SH word
right,
that
gotcha.
you know, I can't words apparently.
Man, if only we had progressive shovels. I think that would be quite fun. What do you think? Should I pitch this?
No, let's just let's not. Let's don't say we didn't.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's Aries mitts. Gonna be rolling on out of here. I forgot what was just $20. I was like, what was in hammer pegs?
Yeah, nothing really, of course, to write home about. But in this case, as we're also seeing, in this case, Mactop is, at least he has the flute in order to do the rest of the Smith chain. But mirrorless Smith chain is going to be quite not fun. Ooh.
Yeah, for sure. There's the book for Airy.
Yeah, Mactop actually is demonstrating some nice inverted tech in terms of travel. With the mitts, with the flute. Not often, of course, we get to be able to go flute to spot 6 versus spot 7. But of course, spot 7 is something that is not useful. Are we gonna check Bombo's tablet out of curiosity, or we'll just do that after this?
I think we'll do that after. Yeah, that's probably the play. Who knows with that sprite up there, what would happen, you know? And inverted, the thing could just despawn. Who knows?
Actually, that is a good point.
Probably doesn't, but you know.
Oh, looks like actually Mactop is actually just interested in that tablet. No desert dip quite yet. Certainly can understand. In this case, he doesn't have the big key. Maybe in this case, we could actually just be, you know, we also could be boost locked out as well, which he also doesn't have, so maybe just gonna put that off very slightly.
Probably so. Looks like this is the pod cleanup play over on Madcap's side.
Yeah, and you know, kind of just like with all this, right? Mactop is, you know, in terms of getting his crystals and getting back, you know, quote unquote catching up This is in this case where MacTap's going to be able to see like, oh man, he's just knocking out these dungeons left and right. Whereas kind of looking at this is, as you mentioned before, right? This is where in this case Ares going to give some of the time back. Not only of course he's going to do the rest of the mountain, he has much more stuff in Turtle Rock that he can do with that mirror.
Yeah, and we mentioned, that big chest, that's available too. We did find that big key. So that's another part of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
The big key, actually, I'm an idiot. That also puts in Crystal Roller. So even more than I was initially thinking.
Yeah. And I
Man, ban Inverted. Inverted's too weird.
Maybe we should ask a league admin about why Inverted was part of the modes for this season. What do you think?
I don't know. I'll write a strongly worded letter.
Sounds good. All right, looks like though nothing the big chest, just the compass. Not as going to be useful here in non-keys, a non-enemizer. Just going to be another one of those dungeon items to keep track of. Now, so at this point, what in this case do we still kind of need for go mode?
We're going to need 2 rods. We're going to need a cane. And I think that's it.
So
some big keys.
Yeah.
Mainly the desert one. And then I think that is actually it. So...
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's necessarily surprising, but at the 15-minute mark, we have not seen a single rod. But we've seen in this case, I think we've seen Bombos and Quake so far.
And look at that chonker bunny sprite right there.
Okay, so Dark Pug is agile, and fit. But his inverted buddy counterpart, I guess, is the exact opposite, right?
Something like that. Mm-hmm. All right, here is Helmasaur for Madcap. You guys know how this song and dance goes. 17 hammer hits. That mask will come flying off in dramatic fashion.
Mm-hmm. Gold sword to boots. Lack of boots. But 2 hits is all going to be for second phase of Helmasaur. Yeah, this is actually why, probably in this case, the gold sword is a little bit overpowered when it comes to, in this case, the very first crystal dungeon of the game. I didn't know that you could bonk over the dead rock on Ares' case, but that's some very interesting movement.
Apparently so. We'll see what Ares is going to decide to do here. There's, obviously the opportunity to go ahead and go to Hera. There's also the middle drop opportunity, which is the one he's going to take. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 more checks here.
I wonder if the Ice Rod is also likely to be here in Laser Bridge and Inverted as well. I guess I haven't seen that. Oh, well.
There's that other big key we don't need.
Yeah, exactly. All right, small key on Laser Bridge. We can actually go get another small key. So we have plenty of keys in order to go face Trinex when we eventually go get our rods.
Oh yeah, all the small keys
all right,
are up here. So Aerie opting to not do Hera or Spiral Cave. So off we go.
Did we check Spiral Cave on Madcap's side?
We did. Okay. It was nothing, but that is something I don't really think it's too alluring, but it could draw him in. This looks like Madcap may be making a desert play now with the book. No, this is an Agena play. This will get him. I think this is the TR big. Oh no, he has that.
This is the Mire big.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he for what it's worth, he still can't. I guess he can get into Mire now if he decides to, in this case, go into desert, walk all the way over to Desert Ledge, go pick everything up, and then go back to Mire. I don't know if he, I guess, is potentially interested in that that particular time investment.
Yeah, that's potentially something that could take, it could be required, but it could just also be a massive time sink. I think this is, Aerie's going to make the play, though. I can't imagine him just one-offing this Bombo, so this is probably to get his Ether, see what's in Desert, and then on top of that, head into Mire.
Yeah, right. And of course, with the boots that Aerie picked up in the back of Swamp Palace, you know, just going through desert, going through Mire is going to be a little bit, you know, more efficient, more palatable for him, especially, of course, Desert Palace being the dungeon. I like the sync, by the way.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to get a nice side-by-side comparison between just the effect of the boots on Aerie's side versus... Well, I guess for what it's worth, maybe the hook shot on MacTap's side, but I would certainly expect Aerie to get through these screens a whole heck of a lot faster. Yeah, that mirror in the back of Escape that MacTap is still eluding. MacTap is actually gating, in this case, is gating more and more stuff for him. He can't get into Swamp Palace without the mirror, and looks like also he potentially is... you know, will end up taking a little bit longer just in order to do everything else that he wants to do.
Yeah, so far the Flute's just kind of been more of a curse than a blessing, I think, for Matt Cap. You know, from our vantage point, obviously, we're seeing Aerie's side too. You know, for Matt Cap, he's probably thinking that was a good find, and you know, rightfully so. I'd be in the same situation, thinking this is good.
Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, from MacCap's perspective, right, this was you know, maybe like one of his only ways into Mire, right, without the mirror.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah, because he got mitts early, and like I made mention then, if you get mitts early, there's higher probability you'll see mirror much later, but you know, obviously not guaranteed. Did Aerie not check the torch item?
I don't think we saw that screen on his side, so I hope it's nothing important. MacTap not even gonna check because I guess he doesn't have boots.
Okay, apparently chat's telling us that we got all the items.
Oh, okay.
I just
Cool.
I'm too busy running my mouth about that whole mid scenario.
Oh right, because we got a heart piece and a heart container. So last item's gonna be on Landmos. Yeah.
All right, I'm sure Aerie feels great about this. Here we go, opening up Mire.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, for all we know, the cane is just right here, right? Certainly would not, you know, be the first time that we saw something like this happen in Randomizer.
It's happened more than I care to admit.
Now, of course, we don't have the fire rod, but we do have a fire source, being that lamp. So we are going to be able to get every single item at least up here before, in this case, the basement.
Let's see. Invrosia, if my math is right, it's just 3 items. So
it is just 3 items, right? But looks like in this case, MacTap having the exact same idea as Aerie. But of course, you know, with the mirror, with the boots, you know, Aerie's gonna be able to just get over into Mire just a little bit faster than MacTap can.
Yeah, and the next, I mean, I don't know, next thing we can talk about is, do you want to do stupid Ice Palace without a cane? But
you know, yeah, and it's a pendant too. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
But you know, our progression has to be somewhere though, and I think we're kind of running out of locations. Aerie, please be careful.
It's fine. He's got a fairy. And so does Matt Cap. I'm not scared for either one of these people.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Good memory. Yeah, Matt Cap, of course, not only, of course, he does have a bunch of health, and as we mentioned, the, well, that's right, Aerie also has the powder from Helmasaur, but also Matt Cap has the blue mail, which we also got in Eastern Palace.
Torches are hard.
It's hard when you don't have the fire rod.
Matt Cap just a few screens behind. Gonna be getting his key here from Spike Chest, utilizing that cape, making sure don't have any oopsies.
Now, let's see in this case.
All right, and
yeah, I was gonna say, Aerie needs to remember how to do torches without the fire rod here.
This is
Like
everyone's favorite way to do this. I feel like I'm in the 90s all over again.
Yeah, it's like when you first come to Mire, this might be your first guess as to how you could end up doing torches. Oh my gosh, taking a slightly different route than Aerie in terms of chess. MacTap is the first one to find the Cane of Somaria inside Misery Mire. Of course, of course.
Well, that is unbelievable. Well, there's the second item. Yo, is
Okay.
Airy going? Airy's going for it.
Oh.
Oh, failing it. All right, well, come on, gamer.
All right. Yep. Looks like he's looking for a chance for redemption. Oh my gosh, beautiful! Look at that. That is some nice skill with the boots.
Yeah, so last item on Vidi is clearable. Both runners going to be able to do that. And there's Kane for Airy, so if we go.
Yeah, nice.
I thought he stopped that dash too soon. I didn't know if you could get stuck there.
Oh. You know, well, the Pug Sprite is pretty, you know, is pretty athletic. He's pretty fit, so I would imagine he's able to get out. But I guess I don't technically know. MacTap though, I will say though, as MacTap has gotten, I would say a ton more chest turns than Airy though. So I think we might have to kind of, you know, give MacTap a little bit more accolades here. Saving those frames.
All right, MacCap also remembering how to do the puzzle the dev intended way, which is very boring.
Yeah, no fire rod, of course, means that no spooky action. So both runners are going to show us again the dev intended way to do the basement. A little bit of extra DLC. Those little rupees just over the very, very big, I guess, ledge that we can't actually get to tempt us a little bit. Of course, coming in here with the gold sword, with cape, with half magic. I don't think you need any of that area, of course. Very, very well equipped in order to take on Vitreous in NMG as well. And of course, we have the bow for the second phase. Gonna make things go pretty dang fast.
If things went poorly, I'm like, he's got a fairy. I have no reason to be tense, but very solid fight. And MacCap gonna be showing us that as well here in just a bit. Oh, that is crystal number 4 for Airy over on Team Pugs.
Yeah, very fortunate heart piece pickup to get himself saving a little bit of extra refill time because he got a head start. But not only that, as you mentioned, crystal number 4, both 5-6 crystals down for Airy, soon to be MacCap. So we also do have Pyramid Fairy potentially on the table here.
Oh yeah, that is true. We do have Mire. That is a requirement there. You know, that's probably what we're going to see here shortly. We're running out of stuff. You know, Airy still has Hera. He still has ice. They both have ice. We haven't seen anything in there. And MacCap did dive Eastern already. So, a lot of things still on the table. Some outliers.
Yeah. So I think we can't actually get into ice yet. We're looking for...
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Actual fire, sadly.
I saw 2 medallions and thought.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like you know it's like we're an hour into the game. Surely we have a way to get into one of our favorite dungeons.
Listen, this is what you call a nice evening race for the two European runners. It's very early. Over here where we are.
Yeah, but you know what? I think we maybe just spoke too soon, just because you know Airy's doing Pyramid Fairy right now. As you mentioned, we're running out of locations, and that both Airy and MacTap haven't seen. So this also could very well just be a Bolas medallion.
All right, very good fight there from MacCap. Gonna get his 3rd crystal. And you know, Clear Mouse, I just thought of something as we see Airy pull a fire rod and some bombs. You know, we're an hour in, and we haven't done Front of Escape or Uncle, so I guess we're doing that now.
You also very good point. By the way, we can get into Ice Palace as you just mentioned. I don't know why we thought that we couldn't get into Ice Palace because we have a fire rod. What was the problem?
Well, let's not go to ice. Let's just find an ice rod as we see silvers.
Yeah, well, that's pretty nice. Of course, we did need it for basically anything. You know, we already had, like, for example, for Vitreous. Where is MacTap going?
This is MacCap's going to this portal. This is going to give him Zora. We still haven't seen that on Airy's side either.
Yeah, good point. Good points.
One of the benefits of the flute getting here pretty quick.
Yeah, we have 1,200 rupees on MacTap's side. I think we're okay in terms of being able to spend a few rupees here and there. But yeah, actually, with the Kana Somaria found in Mire, with the Fire Rod here in Pyramid Fairy, looks like in this case we are at the classic "Where is the Ice Rod?" Go mode for a randomizer race.
We'll find it before the Desert Big Key.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
He said hopefully.
That's right. We also still need, in this case, Ambrosia, excellent reminder, we still, of course, need a couple of, in this case, very specifically, we need the Desert Palace Big Key.
Alright, here's our Hyrule Castle map.
Yeah, looks like actually, right, as mentioned, we have a big key too on Zora.
Oh. Tower of Hera.
Oh, okay, but I think in this case, it is, Mactop's already gotten all 3 items out of Hera, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows that's a useless big key. You can just lump it in with Skull Woods. So...
Oh my gosh, you see the power of Gold Sword? Just a dash and a poke into the ball and chain guard. Yeah, we need 8 slash for a fighter's sword. Why don't we just get Gold Sword instead?
It'd be too easy. Alright, where is Aerie headed? Is this the Skull Woods cleanup? Because we have the big chest plus... let's see, we found 2 items in Skull, so we know it's just the boss.
Just the back.
Yeah, see, I know how this Oja stuff works.
Yeah. Yeah, but looks like though... maybe Aerie's gonna go... Right, this is the only way. He looks like he maybe wants to check Pedestal as well, going into Light World. We also haven't done Lost Woods, have we?
I thought we did. I don't think Madcap has. Yeah, Madcap has not done Lost Woods.
Yeah, though,
now, I mean... the good news... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, like, this is kind of another one of those things where I think the Mire right now is kind of gating Mactap. Like, I don't think these are necessarily bad checks for him. But you know, because he's following the Kana Somaria, but we kind of in this case see like how much the stuff, like how much progression the Mire is actually locking. It hasn't really slowed down in terms of Mactap giving him more checks available for him, but not having the boost, not being able to do Swamp Palace, right? It's kind of taking its toll at this point.
Yeah, and that key's kind of unfortunate. That's gonna push him, you know, even further up into Chain Chomps.
Oh, right, yeah. Mire also was blocking Pyramid Fairy, which of course is our Fire Rod, so Mactap, unfortunately, also getting electrocuted by the Bari, have to start slightly over. Oh,
I felt my stomach sank watching him almost fall off again because of how rude that Stalfos was.
Yeah, he definitely got really bullied in the conveyor belt room. Alright, this is going to be one of the hardest things for Aerie when he comes out of Pedestal. He is going to need to find out where he can mirror. Wait, what?
Oh my god,
it's the
Desert Big Key.
Oh my gosh. Oh well, so I think Aerie's gonna, I think he's gonna go do Hera.
He's got to do Hera now. We've also got to find the Eastern bit.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right. We were so close as to getting a potentially fast go mode, but yeah, suddenly our Ice Rod doesn't look, I guess, as unique. The Eastern Palace Big Key certainly can be quite elusive because it only, in this case, locks 2 checks: Eastern Palace Big Chest and, of course, Armos.
Yeah, a lot of the big keys kind of that way.
But, you know, at least Aerie has the knowledge that he has to go now do everything. There's no more of, should I go do Hera to look for progression? Should I go into Eastern? Oh, maybe going into Eastern might still be a bit more debatable, but man, what a moth fight from Aerie. A nice 9 out of 10 there.
Thank God we have a shield. We have NMG equipment. Game's playable. Yeah, game's playable though, so that's crystal number, it's a lot. 5 out of 7, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna see him detour over to ice. And the good thing is they found both of them, have found ice before. I'm sorry, cane before ice. So that's
Oh,
always
right.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. Yeah. It looks like we're gonna get our Ice Palace dip after all. After all this time. Speaking
This,
of though.
I was gonna say, it looks like Ari is gonna go check the lumberjack just as a
Uh,
failsafe.
I can certainly, you know what? I think this is great peace of mind. I'm gonna laugh really hard though if this is gonna be a big key. 'Cause I think at this point we have all our other big keys that we've already gotten. Okay,
Yeah, if that was a
for
big
fucking it,
key,
yeah.
it was gonna be Eastern between the two runners. For Ari, he could think it was Tower of Hera, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good point, right? And of course, as part of Ambrosia, even though all the big keys are shuffled, minus the GT big key, that was always going to be in its somewhere down the basement.
yeah.
Speaking
All
of
right, so this
basement,
is
yeah.
gonna be Mire for Matcap.
Mm-hmm.
So this will lead him to his boots.
Yeah, Mire opens up, yeah, Swamp Palace, where in this case, Ari, as you mentioned, got his boots. Now, of course, even though MacTap may not be feeling the greatest, getting in his Mire pretty much over an hour into the seed, where, of course, Back of Escape was very accessible, albeit not very convenient. The good news for MacCap though is that he's actually done a lot of stuff that he needs to do already, right? He's done Hera, he's made a lot of checks, and he doesn't know that he needs to do Pedestal or all 10 dungeons, but the good news for him is that none of that effort has been wasted.
Yeah, the only bad thing for Madcap is the Eastern dip, but considering how long he's been without the boots, as far as mobility, I think that's actually starting to benefit him more than be a detriment. But this is the Swamp Palace play from him now, so he's not too far behind. There's Bombos, but Ari's like, I don't need it.
Yep, Ari's not even picking it up. It looks like actually, yeah, Daruk has marked that both Ether is required for Mire and Turtle Rock, at least the front. So we had the Fire Rod already. No reason for Ari to spend the extra seconds. I also appreciate the fact that Ari taking advantage of his gold sword, being able to dash through those buzz blobs. Not something you get to do often in Rando.
Or ever.
Yeah, or ever. That's right.
Oh, Ari,
no.
a little too low for the quick fish.
Very convenient, actually. A big key to Swamp Palace for a MacTap. Ari, of course, got that much earlier because we think as soon as he got Light World access, he dove into the dam immediately. But since this is MacTap's first time coming in here, he's going to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I can actually get everything out of Swamp Palace now.
All right, so Ari going to be getting his Tower of Hera big.
Yeah, and I think for Ari, of course, this is going to be like a really nice peace of mind, right? You know, we saw the layout, of course, on Hera, on MacTap's side, but of course, Ari doesn't know that. Okay, I've got the big key, I've got a fire source, I've got a small, I've got everything I need in those cases to fully clear out Hera.
All right, yeah, we're running out of here. I guess we're headed to Ice Palace. I mean, we got, 4 items there? There's got to be something there. I think Ari has kind of cleared up all of his overworld, extras. I could be missing one, but that kind of makes me think Eastern Big has to be an ice at this stage. Well, I take that back. We do have a couple of checks in the front of TR. That would be absolutely awful.
Oh, right, yeah, because we have the Fire Rod. And unfortunately, well, Ari has the Fire Rod. Unfortunately, MacTap doesn't, but when he was up there, yeah, he definitely couldn't check them. Alright, but this is going to be a couple of new checks coming up on Ari's side. The first of between himself and MacTap diving into Ice Palace. Meanwhile, though, MacTap is in Swamp. He just needs to go a little bit further in the back. I'll certainly hope for his sake that he does decide to do the back first, because that's, of course, where those boots are. But can certainly understand if he wants to do left side initially. Kind of in one swoop.
Yeah, map in the first chest of Ice Palace. So, items still at large. Yep. Where are they at?
Oh, Mactop's coming into Swamp Palace with the cane. That's right. So this might be a little bit more familiar with him. Of course, Eric gave us the nice bomb diver down content. Speaking of though, items are still at large. We just found the compass. Thank you, Ice Palace.
There's the boots for Madcap. Gonna be running along now. All right, 1 of 4.
Yeah. Hey, look, an item. Not a great item, but it's an item. All right. Well, there's the other male upgrade. So if Eri decides, if Eri's not in go mode, I guess by the time he has Eastern, he will be on green, on red male. Nice clip there.
All right, so I think that was our 3rd item because Aries headed directly to the boss.
I thought, I hope in this case it's, I hope in this case his count is correct. I remember seeing 20 rupees and a heart piece, and I guess we'll see, because we definitely didn't see iced tea. Oh, okay. Oh, the mail was third. Yes, thank you so much.
You know,
I just pointed that out. Yes.
You pointed it out, and it's just so easy to miss. All right, there's Gold Sword. Gold Sword, Cold Stare. Very, very fun. What do we have? Oh, 20 bucks.
We have nothing in Ice Palace. The only thing that was with, well, I mean, you could debate about the mail at this point, but I think the probably the most valuable thing out of this entire dungeon was just that pendant.
So I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know. Do we go to the mountain here? I'm assuming so. You do mountain, you do all the checks up there that are left, and then unfortunately, I think Ari may end up diving front of TR, just given our item loadout and what we need.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, well, right, it looks like maybe he'll do front of Turtle Rock, just because it is more like, you know, on the path, right, before heading over to Hera. Speaking of though, Mactap is, he decided to, it looks like he's trying to save himself a little bit of extra time, going into, leaving Swamp early for, even though he has 2 items remaining. Okay, we did successfully, Mire back over to the Dark World. I'm not sure if he can keep
I think he lost that portal.
Okay. At least we, okay, so the good news is that we can check Pyramid Fairy, which is what he needs, because that's his fire rod.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe it's just gonna be one of those, you know, happy accidents. I accidentally lost my portal, so I don't want to come back here and do the front of escape. I'm just gonna go do, I'm gonna go do Skull Blitz.
Yeah, the only thing he's missing out, the only thing he's missing out on are those silver arrows. So.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Given that he has Gold Sword, it's a benefit to him more than a detriment, I think.
Oh, all right. So we've got a couple of extra new checks finally on Aries' side, the front of Turtle Rock that Mactap unfortunately could not access when he was here. Is there a big key here? There's a map. That must be the big key to Eastern Palace.
But here's the question now: where's the ice rock?
Yeah. Well, we have 2 more locations in Eastern.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Ari do the basement as Mactap gets the unfortunate news that the whole game's required. Ari also remembering he cannot mirror here, gonna have to go few screens back.
This is this is the beauty of Inverted. You know, is we get to do the Dark World first before the Light World. I will say that Mactap, good job on knowing where to mirror and not mirror bonk in the back of Skull Woods, because that place is actually very difficult in order to find a good spot.
I'm just vibing to this MSU pack.
I know.
So
it's super chill. Now, I'm going to assume in this case that, so we did see Mactap pull out the unique 100 rupees out of Hera base. I'm going to assume that after Eri defeats Moldorm, he is going to go back for the item.
I think you have to, in his case. Obviously, he probably isn't going to feel great about it, but knowing you're going to be leaving an item behind, you know, do you hedge your bets and head to... It'll be beneficial for him to not, but, you know, it's a weird gamble to take.
Right, especially in this case where I think, especially for Eri, there are just so few checks left for him after this, right? I mean, he's gonna have Spike Cave as well. I assume he'll do it after Hera.
Yeah.
Alright, so Mactap finishing up Skull Woods. So down goes Modula. That is his next crystal dungeon, or good thing in this case. Oh, in this case, we didn't see anything that was in Ice Palace that was valuable, of course, but Mactap very happy in this case to be able to see. He doesn't have to necessarily leave another item behind when he's going to the dungeon. This is the second time actually. He found the swamp thing right before going to swamp. He's going to, I assume he's going to ice shortly after this. Looks like Mactap though is also going to check out a Lumberjack as well. It's like, I've already gotten some bad news broken to me by the Pedestal. Let's in this case see if I also still need in order to do Lumberjack.
Yeah. And this is Eri going back in for basement, which, like I said, makes sense. Hedge your bets.
Yeah. And of course, right, major also difference between himself and Mactap when he was in here is that, of course, Eri has the Mire. So, gonna be slightly less painful in order to get out of Hera basement.
And a flute from Madcap, gonna take us down to Ice Palace.
Yeah, actually, so speaking of the flute, you know, we did see Mactap pull it out from the Vanilla Big Key chest at Eastern Palace. Given where the items are, and the fact that we don't have an Ice Rod so far, makes me think that Eri will go see it. Unless, of course, it's in the big chest of Eastern Palace. But I think at this point, I can't see Eri actually going and, like, activating it at this point.
Yeah, it just depends where Ice Rod falls. Like, you know, where does Eri stop checking things? You know, or where does the benefit of that? But I guess this is Spike Cave.
Yeah. So this is going to be the rest of the mountain cleanup checks for Eri. So I assume after this, he is going to go over to Eastern Palace. One, of course, the major differences is that he can't actually go flute over to Eastern. Or in this case, pod for that matter, because no flutes. So he is going to have to run his way over there.
All right, the save and quit from Eri.
Mactap making his way through Ice Palace, just being one item after another, seeing some more and more disappointment. We've got the map, as you mentioned. We got the compass, so 2 non-dungeon items, and then he's going to at least get red mail out of this, but no sign of progression that he is looking for. Second time here over for Eri. No, first time over here for Eri. That's
yeah,
right.
I think this is a first
you're
time.
Right.
So he's gonna be checking Green Pendant. He's gonna be checking back Saha.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. Very efficient for both Eri and Mactap to be able to do Hera first before coming over here. Again, no great mobility, you know, without the flute of any type the first time. So you definitely want to try and minimize the number of trips you take over here. Oh, looks like actually Mactap's taking a slightly different route over to check Ice Tea first. Definitely didn't see this on Eri's side, but of course we did see that Eri had picked up all of the items, so this is not going to be anything useful. Oh, he hit the switch. Gotcha. That is why. Makes sense. Now, Dancy, if you are Airy or Mactap, like how, or maybe if you are hypothetically playing the seed yourself, kind of searching this case for everywhere, like, are you feeling good about the race? Are you feeling bad about the race? Are you just...
It's hard to say. Like, so there's been a few things down the line here that have actually benefited Madcap quite a bit. Him losing that portal was probably a feels bad moment, but that's saving him time. I don't know how I can't. I'd feel kind of about that Mire being where it was if I'm in Madcap's shoes. If I'm in Aries' shoes, I feel like things have been going well, but you know he's basically hundoed the game. And when you do that, it's kind of like, you know, did my opponent do the same thing? How do I feel about that? Like, what's the likelihood? You know, it's a toss-up. So, I don't think Aries probably feeling too bad. Madcap might be feeling okay as well. I don't think either one of them probably feels like in a very good spot per se.
Yeah, that's also a pretty good point. Yeah. Oh my gosh, and there is that is the ice rod. So, that is in this case go mode for Airy. He will never know where that flute location is.
The flute is gone forever for him.
Alright, so on Mactap's side, finishing up Ice Palace, getting a boatload of disappointment from the dungeon other than that pendant. But if this is a mountain trip up for Madcap, very good news for him if he's gonna go do the front of Turtle Rock with the fire rod. Yeah, and the fact that, as you mentioned, like, Mactap losing that portal in the front of Escape kind of prevented him from doing so, but Mactap in this case is actually making all of the right decisions in this particular case. He's looking for the Eastern Palace big key, did not get baited back into the front of Escape, which in this case, we know that even though silvers are there, not progression. Probably gonna save him a little time, except these bars are just gonna constantly get in his way. But he is well on his way heading toward Eastern Palace. Assuming he goes back and goes and gets his next pendant, he will basically have Ice Rod with him, and then that is gonna be the rest of his game for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff he has left, so I'm going to assume that he's not going to be doing that overworld, like any overworld checks, just for like good routing purposes. Like once he gets this, it makes total sense to just do what you need to do. So that like he's gonna manage to get away like no mushroom, no powder.
Oh yeah, yeah, very good points.
Very good for him. Just as it stands right now, still a little behind.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of the consequence, I think, of probably getting that Mire, you know, on the later side, right? Just because, well, the Mire, of course, not only is very efficient in terms of both, you know, light world, dark world travel. In this particular case, going kind of in between being a bit more efficient, but also that Mire kind of gated a lot of good things in this case for Mactap, right? To have, for example, the boots, the fire rod, all of these great things. And so these little things just kind of like add up, right, over time. So you really kind of see Mactap trying to cut some corners at the end. So skipping the front of Escape, you know, whether he wanted to or not, is definitely going to be a good thing for him.
And I'm noticing now, chat pointing it out, as we see Madcap in Turtle Rock, there are a lot of things that he didn't do in here. That was just kind of like the way the items fell when he was up here on the mountain. So he's going to be giving a little time back to Airy here.
Yeah, but I think from what I remember, the laser bridge just had a ton of keys. Is that right? So all of the items should be front loaded.
Yes. So he'll know. There's one item in the back, but I don't think it was anything of any form of value. All right, crystal number 6 for Error.
You know, for basically like a hundo seed, I would say this is actually a pretty decent time. We literally had to go do everything in the game.
Yeah, we did.
And unfortunately, just because of where the Eastern Palace big key is, not that I think Airy probably spent that much more time, let's say, in Ice Palace versus like a go mode Ice Palace, but it is still one of those things where it's just like, you would rather try and go mode Ice Palace, but I mean there are 4 items in there. Ice Rod could just very well be there. You just
Could
never
be.
know.
Yeah, you definitely don't. But off we go to pick up a rock and then pull the
Right.
ped. So chat, hang on to your seats. Go get, if you haven't popped your popcorn, you know, it's what everybody wants.
Yeah,
except
exactly.
the runners.
Yeah.
In every time.
You know, I'm glad that we got some new content, though. I don't think I've ever seen the sand spills out of this big key text on the pedestal, so...
I mean, I read it, and I didn't know what it meant for a second.
All I saw at the end was a big key, and I saw sand, I was like, oh, well then.
I learned the hard way that apparently if it says, like, you can find the Desert Palace ball, that's the compass.
Yeah,
I assumed it was the big key.
Exactly! Oh, I thought it might have been the map. Oh my gosh. That is at least it hopefully wasn't too important of a race.
No. Just ladders.
Okay. Alright. There is a no-read pedestal pull for Airy. He had already seen what it was before with the book. But of course, that is official go mode. With his Desert Palace big key, all he has to do is take down landmost. And because in this case, this is inverted, we're going to have a much shorter path in this case to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, for sure.
Not quite as short as we had in this case a defeated Aghanim, but should be much shorter than like your typical mountain climb that you have to do in non-inverted. Of course, like the flip side is that you probably will have to do the mountain trip, you know, in a regular seat. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times. In inverted, you kind of trade that off for, you know, everything that we've seen Airy and MacTap do in the course of the seat. It's like, I don't know, climb that thing like, you know, 6 or 7 or 8 times.
Yeah. Never feels great.
Yep. Of course, also with inverted, there is absolutely no backdooring into desert. We did come in here the first time because we needed all the items in the right side of desert. We're gonna have to, in order to get to the back, we're gonna have to go through the front all over again. Alright, that was the Ice Rod pickup for MacCap. So he is now officially in go mode as well. He has all the information he needs. He knows the Desert Palace big key is on the pedestal. He has just gonna finish up Eastern Palace and then go do exactly what Airy done and go pull the pedestal. Of course, go finish up Turtle Rock as well. Minor difference on MacCap's side is that, unfortunately, whatnot, no silver arrows because those were with Uncle, and that was one of the things that unfortunately could not make it onto MacTap's to-do list. But not going to be too big of a deal, just because he is very capable with regular arrows, and really going to be the only difference between silvers and regular at this point is probably just going to be Phase 4 Ganon, which MacTap is very capable of doing. Not going to be too much of a time difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can see the expertise of using the fire rod to light torches on Airy's side. Much more comfortable, of course, than with the lamp that we saw in Mire.
All right, and that is crystal number 7 for Airy. Gonna be heading to Ganon's Tower. There's a bunch of numbers in chat. Claire Mouse, I have no idea what those mean.
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure out where they think that GT Vicky is. Yep, and yeah, and it's the runway is certainly a little bit short on this case, so feel free to take a guess, but you're gonna have to guess pretty quickly because Airy's gonna go into the light world, and then he is just literally gonna run up to the castle. Get over in that cutscene, and then we're gonna go search for where that GT Big Key is.
And the Desert Big for MacCap coming off the ped.
Also remembering to Mire so we can flute out of this location. Something that, of course, Ari, I believe he just, I think I want to say he just saved and quit just because no flute. But of course, MacTap did do the vanilla Vicky chest of Eastern, so we were able to. He was actually able to use that flute actually for a really good amount of time for his scene.
You know, given that he dove that early, definitely helped him out quite a bit.
All right, so we are in GT in this case. Ari looking to take his not necessarily trademark, but a very common route for him. Starting out on the left side, going to get at least one guaranteed small key before most likely heading over to Compass Room and right side after Stalfos Room. So with a small key on the torch. Nothing so far in Stalfos Room.
5 checks done. We got 2 more coming up. Hot and ready in Hope Room. I'm hoping for the big key.
Yeah. And I think at this point, we found every single big key, so we can't get baited by any other big key. Like, the one that shows up is going to be the GT big key.
Also interesting note here, and it's not really going to... It looks like it may not play a factor in this race, but there were no keys, so if it shows up over here in Hope Room, I mean... So if it shows up over here, you know, this is kind of where that route to DM room and then coming back over really helps.
Yeah. I was actually just going to make the same observation. Is that this is one of the reasons why going over to a left-sided in Stalfos Room first matters. But exactly in this scenario, where you guarantee yourself a small key in order to come over here to do right side. Because if you don't do that, you're going to do all the left side before going back over to right.
Very true. So the climb begins. Also, MacCap using Fire Rod, taking down Landmos really quick. Going to be getting their 6th crystal. Still have to go back up and take care of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, but so for how much MacCap has done, especially towards the end of the seed, he has made some like really good, efficient, good decisions in order to try and cut out some time in the late game. But I think really kind of like the main difference is that the late Mire compared to kind of between himself and Ari, I think really kind of set apart some of the time that unfortunately MacCap had to spend more of in order to do the same thing that Ari also did. Man, these Stalfos though in Gauntlet, not really giving Ari a good time.
Yeah, definitely not. And
but these Isaacs seem to be cooperating pretty well. Nice late game, late rooms here for the Gauntlet on Ari's side. Through Wizard's Run, thank you, Kane to Somaria, that we found in Mire. Not always the greatest place to find it, but I guess we're thankful for what we can get. So it is around that time of year, right? Just one more month between. Oh no, I guess we passed Canadian Thanksgiving. I think just recently, and then we're gonna have U.S. Thanksgiving here in about a month. So nice time of year in order to have these sentiments.
All right, we're at the top. Do you think he's gonna do it? Is he gonna do the thing?
Oh, I do believe that there is a sister emote that does show a pug trying to hover over the gap. I'm glad he didn't get hit by the Moldorm because that looked dangerously close. But this is why the pug is very fit.
Cool, calm, and collected because that was a sweaty moment with that was coming.
Now, I was actually going to ask you, Dante, given that Aerie is so well equipped in NMG, having a 123 time, do you think he might falter a bit given that he has gold sword and silvers, not the equipment that he's used to?
I think he'll be fine.
A gold sword doesn't seem to be helping too much here on Aghanim, unfortunately, but oh my gosh, after, man, a pretty rough cycle 2, Aerie got a triple for cycle 3. What a nice recovery. Honestly, the first cycle looked like it was a triple as well, but I guess maybe only 2 of them only counted. This sometimes game is not always the best in terms of registering hitboxes.
All right, here we go, Ganon.
Yeah, Aerie is starting off really well. Looks like he's basically doing this fight exactly as he had Tempered Sword, so looks like no muscle memory issues here. Certainly doesn't need to with Gold Sword because he only needs 6 slashes the first space, 6 slashes second space. But no reason in this case to not do what you're comfortable with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, we'll be back in a minute.
We just experiencing some technical difficulties. This is like one of those freeze frame shots in this case for Aerie. You know, maybe one of those things that you take a picture of and kind of hang it on your wall type of thing. It's always so nerve-wracking when you see, I don't know, I see a runner standing on a side where the tiles haven't fallen yet, because it's like, I know they're not gonna fall yet, but man, if it does fall, it's a very bad
I think
time.
they're just gonna fall at any given moment.
Yeah.
But speaking of falling, Ganon has done that. Sword up in the air, and Aerie gonna be crossing the line, taking Invrosia week against Madcap. GG's with an official time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 14 seconds.
Yeah, get your GG's out for Aerie, as you said, taking first place in this very thorough seed. Get your GG's out in chat for Madcap as well. He ended up did forfeiting after I think he saw the dot done from Aerie. Ran one heck of a good race. It's just kind of unfortunate where that Mire was for Madcap.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if we can get both of them in here to chat with them.
I do see both of them in setup, so hopefully they'll be coming up shortly. We are joined here by Aerie, today's winner. GG's.
Oh, thank you.
And Madcap, GG's.
Yo, GG Madcap.
Oh, hello, how are you everyone? GG, sorry.
Yo, GG's. Was a interesting seed, I must say. I didn't feel good throughout like the till end, just because it was so full clearly, but the information about Desert Big was so crucial.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel I probably played like a very different seed from every... I think, like, in the route, I don't know, like, with Kane and everything, obviously it felt like maybe things were gonna turn out all right in the end, but problem is Kane didn't open much else at that point, and yeah, like, obviously boots behind Mire is like just the worst thing that could have happened at that point, so yeah, that's obviously unfortunate. I don't know, Eastern and Sahat, I feel always tends to have a lot of progression, and with it being pendant especially, and already having the green pendant, I just said let's go for it. And once I got the Flute and I saw Ether and everything, I just kept pushing that.
Yeah, and honestly, like, at that point, you found Flute, and right after that was when Aerie got the boots. That was probably, you know, at that point we were thinking, okay, well, Madcap's probably going to make up some time. There may be a chance that, you know, Aerie doesn't even see the Flute, which I believe was entirely the case with how the items fell. And then there were so many things like that actually brought this pretty close overall, just due to you losing that portal on the pyramid. I know that probably didn't feel great in the moment, but it was like a huge blessing in disguise, just because that kept you probably from. I'm assuming you were intending to dive Hyrule Castle at that point as well.
I was going to do it. Like the portal was a mistake and unfortunate, but I don't know. With the fire rod, I think I would have just like left and just kept pushing. Like in case Eri didn't have Kane. I mean, at that point it's kind of impossible, right? But I don't know. You just kind want to hope like he just doesn't dip Mire without the Kane. And I don't know, like for me as well, like bombos could be anywhere weird, and maybe that could take you to ice and like to other terrible places.
I'm trying to remember. So Bombos was on Mushroom, but I don't recall where the two of you got Mushroom. I know both of you ended up getting it.
I think it was in Swamp.
The mushroom
Yeah,
was
okay.
in Sank. The Sank chest, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's okay.
Yeah, that
It
makes
was a
sense.
very long seed. You had to basically do everything. I think I don't know how many spots do you have left on your map on your counter.
I had Eastern Dicky chest and Spiral Cave left.
For what it's worth, that the Eastern Palace Big Key chest was where MacTap got his flute. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I was considering going to Eastern at some point, but I never really ran out of things to do, and nothing really felt like particularly good, but also nothing felt as bad as going to Eastern. Yeah, I don't know. Like routing-wise, it was a very interesting seed, and there were a couple of decisions where I didn't particularly feel good about what I was doing, but it did pay off, like going into Mire. But yeah, just being able to be efficient with Boots and Mire definitely made the entire seed very bearable in the grand scheme of things. And then, yeah, being able to get the fire rod, then finding out about Desert Big, it kind of like gave me an actual game plan going into late game. But man, it's inverted. Inverted is really annoying with having to save and quit and then run over to the next dungeon, and it feels a lot longer going everywhere than it does in a normal mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think maybe both of you kind of experienced that. I mean, maybe certainly more so maybe for you, Ari, like as you were mentioning, like the save and quit stuff, just because you didn't have a flute. But I think on the flip side, like MacTap, you didn't really have a mirror for a good portion of the seed, unfortunately. So I mean, one of the highlights, I guess, at least for the restream, was you guys were both in Desert Mire around the same time. Like we had a sync going into Desert in order to, like the first time around. But Ari, you had the mirror, and the boots, and so like you were just basically able to be a little bit more efficient, kind of versus like MacTap going into Desert, picking up Ether Medallion, saving, quitting, going back over at least a Mire with the flutes. But it's just, you can just basically see like the difference in time there.
And just to kind of put a head on this, so next week, Casual Boots, MacCap, you and your team are going to be playing against the Noble Foxes. How are you guys feeling heading into Casual Boots week?
Yeah, let's see how that goes. I'm finally like resting this week. We have Kaede with Obscure, who kind of hasn't played yet. I mean, Obscure obviously it's a top opponent right now after winning the main tournament and everything. But well, Kaede has won some ladders in Casual Boots and something, and he feels confident. And yeah, and Sathas versus Hayfield, that's going goes well. And yeah, like obviously the previous race was really unfortunate with the Pearl in Turtle Rock and everything. This one was a bit closer, fortunately. But yeah, I mean, at least we are still 2-2, and there's a lot of weeks to go. So let's hope they can win it.
Yeah, for sure. Ari, you and your team look like are going to be playing against the Spec Rock Bonkers. I assume you'll be. I guess I know you'll be playing that week. So how you feeling heading into Casual Boots?
Pretty good. It's a very comfortable mode. Get boots, get a sword, just run all over the world. I'm not going to complain. I don't exactly know. I haven't seen Tom run around much. Like I know they've been like in the community for a while, but I haven't actually seen them play. But it should be a good match regardless. And well, my teammate is gonna have to beat up Nissan. I'm sure he'll do a good job of that.
Going against the car going to be very tough.
I don't know.
But-
The Spec Rock Bunkers have quite the reputation for sitting them, so I don't think you can sleep on. I don't think you can sleep on any team here in the Invitational League. So.
Oh yeah, you can't. I love those guys, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess this is going to kind of wrap things up here on SG. Any final thoughts from either one of you?
GG's. Good luck to you guys in the next round. Well, fortunately, I mean, hopefully you lose some match and you don't go undefeated. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was nice. It was nice to race Area. I believe we hadn't raced 1v1 yet, and yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice racing each other. Good luck in the coming weeks, and maybe we'll see each other in the division finals or something.
Yeah,
But
let's
yeah,
hope for it.
yeah. Also, thanks to Clearmouth and Dante for the comms, and yeah, hope the streak keeps on going.
Yeah, thank you, of course, for all the commentary tracking and all the work in the league as well and everything. It's always very fun.
And thank you guys for playing, because we could talk about stuff, but without the racers, can't do that either. So
Yeah.
and a huge thanks to Daruk for doing the tracking for us today, keeping us in check on where the keys were and the items. And it's even harder when there's keys at large. So shout outs to them for doing that for us. Clear Mouse, it's always a pleasure. It was a good time.
For sure.
Hopefully we'll
For sure.
do one again soon.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Of course, best of luck to you, Dante. Because it does sound like you are playing next week at some point. Maybe.
I can't sit out every week and get carried, so I have to play at some point or another.
Yeah, well, certainly best of luck to the Pugs. Best of luck to MacTap and your teammates moving forward. As you said, casual boost, nice and comfy mode. Quite the contrast to Ambrosia, so certainly feel a little bit better with that. I also want to really thank you so much, Daruk, our tracker. He is awesome at doing so many of these, volunteering his time. Also very accurate. Didn't basically see a single thing getting dropped. So thank you so much. And coming up, actually, so right now, going on right now on SpeedGaming 5, we have a Relkin vs Ramon for another Ambrosia race. And of course, at 2:10, we'll have Mal versus Dragon on SpeedGaming 4, and of course, Obscure versus Scottish at 3:10. So lots of rando here. So basically, keep watching rando, keep playing rando. Until then, have a great rest of your day.